tonight we'll have like 2 segments of the presentation. So first, we'll start with Joe and Lewin's sharing on what like We Color People is about. Then after that, we'll take a short break before I talk a little bit about what like the archiving approaches that I used. Yeah. So I'll just hand it over first to Joe and Lewin before I start my segment later.
Okay. Alright, hi, my name is Lewin. Me and Sojo Huang, but we call her Jo. We are 2 of the founding members. There's more, later you will see their faces, of We Color People. And thank you for being here. So let's go to the first slide. Okay. Alright, so we color people, we smiley people, we the colorful people, we colored people. So we started out, Joe came out with the name We Color People. Do you want to tell very quickly what it means or how you came out with the name?
Mainly because there were 10 members. It's a non-profit society, so you needed 10 members. And we were all of all races, in a way, and all backgrounds. So we wanted to color people's imagination with whatever we came up with, our works and everything. So we decided, we color people, so we color people. But unfortunately, along the way, we had a lot of funny names that people
will refer us.
So we had the zoo, when we did a show there, called us We Smiley People.
Yeah, so the MC introduced the We Smiley People.
So we were just like, let's just go up and not bother.
Sure.
We the colorful people, I think he corrected himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, We Colored People was a new paper thing.
The new paper called us.
Yeah.
Called you.
They called us personally and asked us if we were racist. Yeah.
Yes.
So after I explained the reason behind the name and all, then they actually, within that phone call, got bored and said, okay, we'll call you back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't correct it.
They didn't bother.
Because I think the newspaper were very about tabloids, right? Compared to the Straits Times. So they were wanting a story, they wanted an angle, so the angle of racism wasn't there for them.
The line was, are you racist?
Yeah.
Are you a racist company?
Yeah, so
besides, a bit hard to be. We have Malay, Chinese, Eurasian, everybody's inside.
Yeah.
So
besides this few, our name and the first play that we were on, one of the plays that we were doing, we got called up by IMDA as well, and then they asked us what's up with the name as well, and also why the play we chose, and that was Rainbow's Ending, right? They also asked us about the certain scenes in the scene.
I think the idea of the play was just a reason to call us there, but the main thing they asked about was the name and what is our agenda.
Yeah.
So when we explained again that it's so many of races coming together, coloring people's imagination, from very fierce conversation, she suddenly just like, okay,
like from an interrogation.
It was interrogation to a conversation.
It became like a chit-chat session.
Yeah.
Like, have a drink. After that. So yeah. Okay, so who's we in the We Color People? So yes, as promised. So these are the founding members. So we have Sojo Huang, who was the artistic director of We Color People, and then we have Ray Po, who is currently the Vice Dean of NAFA for theatre. Then we have Faisal Abdullah, who is now residing in UK, doing theatre there. I think he recently did a residency with the Young Vic. Then we have Albert Willio, who is a lighting designer. I think he won an award already. Yes, finally. Then we have Yazid Jalil, who is a established actor in Singapore. He's an adjunct lecturer with NAFA and LASALLE. Then you have me, who is an independent theatre director. Then you have Nina Marata Kosase. Yeah, she is now a proud mother, and she is now with Opera Academy. But all these people were friends in school in LaSalle, and we all had the dream of like wanting to be on stage. That's why we go to LaSalle, and or wanting to pursue acting. And but the thing is, what we didn't know was the the struggles that we were going to face, which I will say soon. Alright, so what were we? Non-profit society, a group of friends, as you can tell. We were individuals hungry to be on stage. Yes, so this picture here, what I can share is that it's taken outside the old Parliament House. This is the point, or this was at the time where you can still smoke outside the old Parliament House. So that's why you can see all of them smoking except me.
And I'm
I don't smoke.
hiding mine lah, because I was scared my mom would see it.
So Ray did a good job in hiding that.
Yeah.
But all these meetings outside that we have, because it's us just relaxing and okay, what we're going to do next. If there's a problem in the theatre or something in the rehearsal room or something, this is the moment where ideas come together. Where we just say, oh, we can do this or we can do that. And what is nice is that even though Joe was the AD, it was not like, okay, there's that hierarchy that, okay, if Joe said we all must follow. We were very collaborative in the sense where if Ray gave an idea or I gave an idea or Yazid gave an idea, we're like, okay, if the idea is good, we take it. So in terms, we still had neither a structure, but ideas and everything, the group of friends still was important, how we collaborated. Okay, so why form a theatre company? Let me read this part. Yes, it was hard to break into the industry. So in that sense, the group of people that was before us, the generation was in their prime. So these actors were KSU, Lim Kay Tong, Lim Yu Peng, Tang Keng Hua, Jin Sharudin, even Ivan Heng, all these stalwarts in the theatre industry, they were there, and we were the next generation looking up to them, and we want to break into that group was very difficult. So hence, we decided, one of the major reasons we should start our own and we should put our own names into the hat, right, into the industry. So we also didn't see the stories that we wanted to on stage.
One of the reasons why we also started it was because at that point, one of my lecturers said, don't wait for the phone to ring, just go out and do it. And I think during this archival residency, the one thing I kept saying was, I can't believe we actually tried. Because if you ask me to do it now, there's so many things that we would think about, money lah, structuring lah, all these kind of licenses are administrative. I probably wouldn't have done it. I cannot believe that. Where in the world did we get the courage to try at that point? I still cannot find in the. Yeah.
When you're unmarried, no kids, a lot of time, a lot of passion.
Out of school, with passion. Yeah.
The minute all the life stresses come in, right? Then suddenly no time. Yeah. But I put this picture up just to show. This was the flying ink pot. Thank you C42 for still keeping the site. We were sandwiched between Toy Factory and Wild Rice. Very nice place to be. Two very good companies.
Very proud of it.
So
even though it's just there, so proud.
If anybody search for those companies, they will definitely see us. So hey, very strategic, but it was not planned, right? Okay, so the company structure. So we had an AD, which was Joe. The managing theatre director was me. Associate artistic director was Ray Po. The finance manager was Nina. Technical manager was Albert. And then we had resident artists like Faisal Abdullah, Yazid Jalil. They were the resident artists. Also, even what I wanted to say, it was in my head. I forgot. Okay, never mind. The name cards. So we created name cards with funny photos, as you can tell, with being very literal, with being with the color situation, and also because we knew each other's strength. That's why also the various roles. So like we knew Albert was a very good lighting designer, but he was back then he was very young, so he was still starting out still. But we knew that was his strength. So technical manager and always the lighting designer. Like Nina studied finance, so okay, you take that. And then Ray and Joanne were very artistic, so we gave them those roles as well.
We shared the responsibility.
I took everything else.
All the admin work.
Okay. So we went. So that was our first logo from 2008 to 11. That was designed by a company. So it's nice to know that. I mean, going through the archival, I forgot that we had a logo previously, and there's a reason why the circle is not in place and is moving off a bit. It was explained that it's always moving forward. So yeah, so that we color people, and then you can see there's the word theatre and company as well. But it became a mouthful, like we color people, theatre and company.
And already people were calling us we smiley people. So yeah, we had to
So hence,
keep it simple.
2011 we said enough is enough. We wanted something more streamlined, so just we color people. And because it's a name that is a very statement name compared to like other companies where it's very like a company name, you know. So yeah, and then we wanted to show the more colors instead of the 3 colors that was chosen. Yeah. Okay, how do we get there? So these are the many departments because we needed to make money as well to run a company. So the main season was the one thing that we, in a way, were supposed to like.
We aimed for 4 shows a year, but of course, after a while, 4 shows got harder and harder with ticket sales, with funding, venue rental. So 4 shows became 2 shows, then slowly it just died off after a while. Then we focused a lot on education, which in the end most of us were teaching. So we had Tampines Sec, Mayflower, Bukit Panjang. We had a few more schools as well. But so how we ran it was that our hourly rate, a part of it would go to the company, so that will constantly help to run and fund us. We had the youth theatre, which Ray actually took care of. 1 year of training students from many schools, especially the east side, and from 14 to 18 years old, and we didn't charge anything. They just came. We were lucky because we had a space at Tampines Sec. The principal was very supportive, so we could use the drama room, which was huge, and that's where we did our performance, our regular sessions. But it stopped after a while when Tampines Sec had to move to their new school, and then we didn't have a space to give it to us anymore. Yeah.
The reason why also was tuition free is because we know that it's expensive to get drama training. And so we thought that we needed to give back. We needed a way to break this structure of like only you can afford means you can get good drama training. We all had drama training. We all paid for it. But so in a way we thought, okay, let's try to break the structure again. So we color people, we always try to like ruffle the industry, but we didn't. But still, like, in our way we thought, yes, we are. Bring different.
But we did write to teachers and then told them about this, and I think we actually had an angle where please do send people who are underprivileged, who don't get the opportunity, and they did actually.
And who were interested.
Yeah, were interested. So we did get a good batch of students at the time.
Yeah, correct. Community and workshops. So with, like I mentioned earlier about our members, if they suggested an idea, if it's a good idea, we will definitely work on it. So like the leisure acting workshop and the transmask workshop was by Yazid Jalil. He went to France and studied clowning under Philippe Gaulier, and he thought when he came back, can he share this to interested people? So we said yeah. So we found we did the back end work of like getting a space, doing the marketing, everything, and then created the leisure acting workshop. So it was a actors training thing, right? And then Transmask was we invited in an Italian guy named Simone Tani, which was also a contact of Yazid. He taught Transmass. The improv workshop, on the other hand, was based on of our show Sabotage, which we did improv shows, and we offered the workshop to schools, and then I think Esplanade also asked us to do workshop for kids and parents also. So yeah, the Mercy Relief one I'll speak later. Am I going too fast? No. Okay. All right. What did we want to achieve? Okay. Develop new audience. Okay. All right. So the one thing I was sharing with Eugenia earlier, that when we do a show, we don't want to invite our own friends and family, in the sense where, like, you must come for my show because to support me and everything. We always wanted, we did our marketing, but we always wanted to find who will come, in the sense of developing new audience. Another one was ticket pricing. We looked into ticket pricing, and we knew that a lot of shows were very expensive. So we wanted to aim for the people who were middle class and lower income to come for our shows and watch and experience a theatre performance. So all our theatre performance, all our shows, whether it was at the Playden or a small venue, it was always below $20.
Some of the ways that we did that was actually getting Passion Card on board. So there's discounted prices. NSF had discounted prices,
Yep.
And then at that point there was Keppel Nights. So Keppel Nights was like 50% off the ticket price. Yeah. So these were the things that we would always keep in mind the moment we plan for a show.
Correct.
So that we know, okay, the ticket prices will be a lot lesser and more affordable.
Yeah, Keppel Nights was wonderful, and then I think the money ran out. All right. Okay, up close and personal. So this was our first show. So Joe, you wanna?
Okay. So first show, and we were very lucky. We only spent $360 to put up this show. $300 for the venue rental, $30 for IMDA license. The other $30 was, I think, printing posters. Yeah. So we had the support of Theatre Eka Matra, who was still at Telok Ayer at that point, and that whole building is gone now. Tapek, right? It was called Tapek. So we used their space. Albert came in, did lighting in a very tiny space. We wrote 10-minute plays, and we used the whole idea that, because when I was in LaSalle, Scott Blackhall was my lecturer, and one of the ways she did device performances was to everybody sit together, come up with 5 to 10 ideas that you want to talk about, and then reduce, and then that's how we started to workshop it, and came up with 6 of the original plays. 2 of which is in the publication now. Yeah.
This was the time before Instagram, so getting word out was more difficult.
Newspaper, 8 days.
There was
poster.
I think NEC magazine also. I can't remember the name. So the posters was one thing that we go to shops around the area and then say, can we put a poster in the shops? We try to put posters in schools. That's
school, substation, NEC itself.
Yeah. Last time there was a notice board
shops,
outside substation, so you can just pin it there. So those were the few places that we will put it up. Correct. But again, this show, even though it was a success, we sold at least about 80% of tickets. The challenges were still funding, and because most of us only took, in terms of paying the actors and everything, it was profit sharing. So we straight out said we couldn't pay you like a certain sum. So whatever we make, we split it equal. And if you're on board, you're on board. So they were on board. So that was the good thing. Yeah. After that show, we were called by Mercy Relief, and then they said that they needed to raise funds for disasters that happened in Yemen and China. So we did it. We created a show, and then you can see here that we were
He loves this picture.
I love this
very
picture.
much.
I mean, how many times can you get a photo with Goh Chok Tong, right? Right. So I have to show this off. Yeah. The only thing that I regret is not tucking in my shirt, but it's okay. Joe, on the other hand, was hiding behind. Yeah. So, but we were proud is that we were helping our company, our stories were actually used for good. You know, like. So we were still on the right track. We didn't divert, and this was charity, so we were not being paid at all. So we did it for free. So yeah. Then our first show, our next show.
Next show, Rainbow's Ending. This is when we partnered with Tampines Secondary, and one of the actors is right there. He's right in the front, and also there. So what we did was we had 5 or 6 adult actors, and we got 5 to 6 student actors, and we paired them together and mentor. So that means one actor to one student actor, and we would help them with acting skills throughout the whole entire rehearsal period. This was performed at the Arts House 2009.
Yeah, played in, correct. Yeah, so this one we had Joe designed the costumes as well. Lighting design again by Albert. Joe also directed this play.
By accident, because the original director left,
Without.
so I had to take over lah.
And Joe also acted in the show. This is in the corner. Everything, right? Okay, good. Okay.
Like doing this, right?
Yeah, correct. Alright, so Await with Nenek.
So one of the things about WCP was that we wanted to write stories that were closer to home, even though yes, of course, taking a scripted... Actually no, I would be very honest, taking a scripted play costs a lot of money. Royalties was very, very high. So you write your own, you don't need to pay anybody ma. So that was one of the ways we saved money.
Poor theatre
at its best. So Awake with Nenek was inspired when during my own grandmother's funeral, and then I was... so I'm half Indian, so of course the dramatic side is the Indian side. And I was watching the entire thing happening every single day, and then I just started writing lah. And it was it's a 3-room flat. Everybody was just fighting over a 3-room flat, even though after you split it's not much, but the fight was so bad that
it inspired the story.
but it was comical because it was so silly characters fighting over something which is like so that came about, and
it's very similar to sorry to cut you. So it's very similar to the story that I think what's the movie now?
How to Make Millions Before Grandmother Dies.
Grandma Dies. Yeah, it's about the same story. Yeah,
which was interesting to like even people everywhere everybody's having the same problem,
same situation.
And after the show, a lot of people actually came up to us, people we didn't know, to say that my grandfather had the same issues. So the one thing I think we really loved about WCP was people came up to us to tell us their stories, or tell us stories and why they came to watch our show, what changed them while watching a show.
Like widen their perspective a bit, and yeah, but the thing is the impact, how theatre impacted, and as actors, as directors, as writers, we were really touched, and that kept us going, even though again, under all this, the funding and the struggles, but this one, the
paid industry rates lah, and on time. We made sure paperwork was well done. I think we were very happy that we ran properly.
Yeah. This one has a joke in it. So that sorry, I just go back one. Can I go back? Yeah, that's Joe's mom in the center, by the way. Yeah. So
photo shoot also we just use everybody.
Yeah. So right at the top there, you get, it says the ratings, 4-star ratings by Sun Abeng, the Sinking Teapot, theatre critic. So we wanted to speak to the critics, the theatre critic in Singapore, and if you know about theatre critics, back then it was the Flying Ink Pot.
Only the Flying Ink Pot,
and then. So we were trying to disturb them, and we put the
I
sinking
was against
keyboard.
it, but no, they went ahead.
But I mean, no wrong. So and at that time it was Kenneth Kwok. So he reached out to us, and he was in good mood, and he laughed and said that because of this he feels that the Flying Import has made it to be made fun of. And then we became friends because of that. And because we were not attacking, we were really just joking. So we were all in good spirits. Yeah. So, but it was a way to like kind of like poke fun and touch and disturb. Yeah. Yeah. So Sabotage, which is our improv play, Joe concepted this thing as well.
I mean, it's very loosely based on what's that? Whose line is it anyway? Yeah, so but we made it more Singaporean.
Very local,
Topics more Singaporean. Speaking, of course, very local. I think this is the longest running, and we had workshops even last year for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it went from Arts House to Esplanade Concourse quite a number of times as well. And that's when people actually came up to us, and one of the most memorable one was this lady who came up to me and said she had the worst news at the doctor today, but she's so happy she came here and sat down because she forgot it for an hour. So I think for us that really became the foundation for WCP to it's for the people also. And I mean, I wish we had more time to really build that lah, but it always is at the back of our mind that no matter what we do, whatever play we have, it's always for the people.
Yeah, correct. So again, we started disturbing people. So like the best improv show since the GE and PE. So election just finished. So GE, the general elections, and PE, the presidential elections. So and then we also disturb those award shows. They love to give funny awards. So we gave our own self awards, like winner of Visiakansi, best improv production for the first week of November. Then the next one we were nominated. We don't want to win everything, right? So had to make it more realistic. So nominated for the best improv visual effect. Like who gets that? And the last one, my favorite, which is the best script in an unscripted, spontaneous performance. So yeah, so that was us. Really always trying to.
So we will design the thing, and then he and Ray will come out all this nonsense and edit in, and then the quarrel will start lah. No, cannot, don't do this.
Yeah, but again, because IG was not around, so Zocards was the way to go at that time. So Zocards, so you put all around, and to see a Zocard for us is like wow, because we have to pay this, because you see all the other companies out there. Sorry. Yeah, all the other companies out there, and you see your card there. Check that out. Yeah. So all those little wins, it was really wonderful. Yeah. All right. So what happened then? Right. So 3 main factors that slowed us down was definitely funding, personal artistic goals. So Ray wanted to pursue his directing because we were getting more and more hungry, I would say. So Faisal wanted his own style of theatre, which he created Hatch Theatrics, and after that he went to England. It's really the subjects that they want to talk about. It wasn't about any like disagreement. That's the one thing that I can say with hand on my heart, is that we didn't disagree. If like they said, I want to do this, I want to go pursue something, go. It's okay. And I think Eugenia knows that we all had a good chat. We all came together anytime, and we still chit chat about things. So that was it. Albert was
also because we were 20s. By the time we hit 30s, everybody is getting married, having BTO. So a lot of it, besides personal artistic goals, is also personal goals in your own life. So all these things kind of slow us down. Yeah. Funding and space is combined in a way, because without funding you can't get space. Without space you can't get your money and funding. So it was really a very hard situation and I think a lot of companies still have this issue actually.
Yeah, I think back then also, because now I think NAC has provided more spaces, ad hoc spaces and everything. But back when we were running this, there was not much, and to get a good space is like really you have to bid for a space in maybe
you have to write in, and then after that they'll call you and tell you, why don't you write in for the other one which I wrote in and you rejected me, so which one is it now, that kind of thing.
So it was really a ping pong thing, and I remember the conversation between you and NEC. It was quite
heated conversation, scolding them for asking me to go and apply for something that you rejected me from. So it was
Yeah.
it was these kind of things.
Yeah, so that kind of also like disheartened us as well. And because of space, we cannot do workshops, we cannot do more development of plays or even just playing around inside that space, because you have to be comfortable in that space, right? We couldn't do
Yeah,
it. So
and rental got higher and higher. Telok Ayer was very cheap.
Yes.
Even for arts groups at that point, I think they paid very little for a venue rental
correct.
for a month. And then when Goodman came about, Goodman was way higher than before. I think 2-3 times the price.
I don't know. I think
Yes,
so.
yes,
Yeah.
that's what I remember. 2-3 times the price of what Telok Ayer was taking. So there were complaints from other artists as well, but for very new companies, it's really, you either have very rich parents or you damn good with your administration, then somehow.
But mostly the rich parents.
No lah, it's just a joke. But yeah you have deep pockets somewhere.
How many theatre people they're all rich? Okay. Alright, then okay, so how now? I was telling Eugenia again just now that thank you for like reviving WCP in a way, like asking us to archive and document, because with that it made us like really look back at the things we did and realize that how much we have done, how much we are in the history of theatre in Singapore. We're part of it, and also we want to make sure why we also agreed to this is also because we want to make sure that the younger generation know who we are. The thing is like we have logos, we have the structures and everything, and collaborative process and everything, but do they know? They don't. So I think if you ask the younger generation now, if you go to LASALLE or NAFA and you ask like, do you know Sojo Huang, or we colour people? No, they won't. But back in our days, because we did take notice of who were the companies around us, so we are also feeling like, hey, how come the newer generation don't? They know a few, but not a lot. Maybe because there was the Flying Ink Pot also that had all that listing also that we go and see everything. But it's also the effort to go and do it. So I hope by doing this, so to continue our archival and documenting our work, we hope to help the future generations understand us and understand this local or this Singaporean way of doing theatre, right? And then we also want to work with new collaborators, like maybe people outside of the performing arts, and then so Joanne, you were also saying about what's the thing about like how long, or like looking at new plays or something, the process time. Like you don't want to like succumb to like just 1 year timeline.
So I think something that we were talking about, like because we were so pressured by 4 plays a year, make sure that we do this and putting up shows constantly. I think now having done a bit more and maybe a bit more knowledgeable about what goes on in terms of admin, in terms of collaborating or creating, I don't think there should be a time it shouldn't be put in a schedule. It shouldn't be like rushed also.
Good work shouldn't be rushed.
Yeah,
right? You must take.
I think when we were younger, we were rushing like, this is when NAC's deadline is for application.
Yeah.
We must meet. If not, we die. The kind of thing.
Correct.
Yeah. I don't know how else to put it without vulgarity, but we'll just do what we want to do.
I heard a story from someone, I can't remember the name, that's why. He said that in Scotland, there's this youth theatre company that still, for 10 years, they're still developing their work. And the government still supports them in their development. And for me, that's a dream to keep on developing. But the thing is also, as Singaporean, the Singaporean in me is like, when's your end goal, right? When's the show going to be developed? And when it's enough? So I think for us is like, yes, we can take time, but also you must know when is enough. Not until Scotland. 10-year kind of thing, but yeah.
It must be major. I must really go and look at it.
Can. Yeah, so in a nutshell, that is We Colour People. Yes.
Thank you, Lewin and
Thank-
Joanne. We'll show a little bit of a snippet of like the e-publication of their archival material before we take like a 5-minute break. And then the next segment, we won't be talking, it will be about like how I approached archiving, but a little bit less on We Colour People's history. So if anyone wants to have more questions for the artist, please feel free to ask them during the break or after the talk. Yeah, thank you. We can have a little 5-minute break now. So I actually am not like a part of We Colour People at all, but I have worked with Jo on 2 occasions, engaging her as a performer. So one was for like a residency with C42 as well. So it was called Yeast, and it was an adaptation of an old script by Ilan Govan. His old script was called Smegma, sorry. Yeah, so we did an all-female adaptation of Smegma, which was Yeast. So Jo came on board, very kindly came on board as performer for that. What I'll talk about today are like some archiving approaches that I've kind of developed during this residency, which I hope I can also continue as a writer for other artists. Yeah. And I'll show you some examples of like archives that I have referred to.
Tell me when you want to.
Okay, can.
I do for you.
Okay, so as a writer, I have to try to think of like broader concepts of presenting an archive. So the 3 concepts I came up with are like archiving with movement, archiving as a form, and archiving like for the artist. So like pertaining to what I kind of feel from my conversations with them and what I feel is like crucial for their artistic milestone going forward. Okay, so I'll elaborate more on like the movement portion. So I looked up quite a few definitions of movements online, and I think there are 3 that kind of stood out to me and that I felt are relevant for anyone in general who is like building a collection of text. So the 3 are an act of moving. So what I wanted to do is have like a story flow to their material. So it has to have some sort of continuity to it. The second one is thinking of like the development as a whole, like the movement towards greater sexual equality. So I have to think of how this artistic movement they created, like building from ground up and gathering as a group of friends, what sort of development was that crucial in that time that they were creating? And then the last one is thinking of the movement like a labor movement, so a group of people working together to advance their shared political, social, or artistic ideas, which I guess is very similar to like the ethos of Center 42 in general. So what better way to do this than here lah? So we thank them very much for their platform in helping us develop this ideology. So I'll show you an example of archiving with movement, with all 3 definitions of movement encapsulated. One place I drew huge reference from was the Asia Art Archive, which is located in Hong Kong. So the Asia Art Archive library is like, it's bigger than this, maybe 4 or 5 times of this, and I visited there because I was on a mentorship with NUS Museum about 8 years ago. So it's a growing body of material that reflects contemporary artistic practice, and they currently have about 48,000 on record. I guess there's even more right now. So they house all sorts of different archives that are like have been made by people who are interested in archiving artists. So I'm gonna show you an example of what they did for an artist here called Lewin. So I'm just gonna click the link. So, oh, sorry, how do I like show this?
It's not showing. Do I end slide?
Maybe just minimize it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can see?
Oh,
No, still
can't.
no. Mac users, terrible.
Sorry.
Everything
Yeah.
else we don't know how to use.
Sorry for the technical glitch. Yeah. So Lewin is now deceased, but this is like a repository of all the stuff that he has done here. And what I liked was that it's very clearly segregated. When I click on the material, I can't access it. I have to go down to AAA to get it. But just from the chapters alone, I can have quite a clear, comprehensive idea of him as a person. Like there's a section where it's just all his correspondences with people. So all his past emails to his spouse, all his administrators. Okay, they are all not coming out. Okay, but this is... Yeah, if you are interested, you can go to the AAA website and look up. They have different documentation styles for different artists. So, yeah. So I'll go back to my slide. So this is the first idea of archiving as a movement that I referenced. The next point that I thought of, if you recall what I said, was archiving as a form. So I looked at artists who make archiving like their main practice. So as artists themselves, they use archiving as their main artistic language. And someone who I look up to in this aspect is Ko. So I'll show you a video of how Ko uses archive as a form. Okay. So it's a very short video, so don't worry. Just 3 minutes.
I will be using newspaper to make art. It's called Artists in the News. I'm showing, artists documented in the newspapers from at least 30 years. Let's say, there's one article per week, 52 weeks times 30 years. So it's about 1,500. So if I have English and Chinese, then it's about 3,000. I actually joined the National Museum in '85, not having much knowledge of Singapore art history. So joining the museum has opened up my eyes, my knowledge through news cuttings, through catalogs. Later on, when I became an independent art researcher and artist, I realized that I need to continue to learn the history. Otherwise, I will not be able to cope with the demand of my independent work and as an artist too. In my case, I'm interested in art history as the theme for my art practice. Yeah, and art history include accumulating whatever is current. Every day, what's happening will also become old in the future. So I learned over the years that if I read the newspaper every day, that's good enough for me to accumulate. When I first proposed this work for Biennale, my idea was there's always been new artists, young artists, contemporary artists in different periods of our history. So if you look at the newspapers, they have contemporary artists, contemporary art exhibition, So my intention is to show the contemporary artists, which normally people refer to the younger artists, and the artists who are current. I want to show that in history there were also contemporary artists, contemporary art. hopefully, during the Biennale period, I can meet people who has the means to help me extend the life of this collection and the archive.
Okay, that's it. So I guess I'll just put a little bit of Ko's bio here so you all can read up more about him. I think what drew me to Ko's decision to use archiving as a form was that, a lot of us might think that currently the way we archive is purely like online or through like something very consolidated. But what I admired from him is that he really transforms like an entire space into an archive and makes people like enter the space and enter the time. So how he presents his works are really like an entire room full of like newspapers, clippings, his desk and all that. And you really get this strange imbalance of like, okay, am I in a hoarder's room or am I in a resource that is really filled with a lot of knowledge? And I think that is like a big challenge that we face in archiving, right? Because it can look like a very pointless and dry and just junk-filled form, but it is really highly necessary lah. So that's also one of the like challenges that I faced during this residency, which I'll talk about later. But yeah, if anyone is interested to find out more, this is Ko's bio. I'll go on to the last point that I talked about just now, which is archiving for the artists. So I have two main questions that I asked Joe and Lewin, which was, what is my encounter with them like? And what do I understand from their practice? And the reason why I put this visual up is like I see it as some kind of, for this residency, I saw it as some kind of like color division. So as you can see from a photo, I have to kind of sift out the colors that are present here in this photo. And then how do I create that as an archive for them? So I'll talk a bit about what this output is later on. And then the questions that I also pose to them is, what do they themselves understand about their practice? Which I think was helpful for them those past few months, like reflecting about the kind of scripts they created, how the sort of challenges they faced, and how this also influenced them currently for the kind of works they want to do. And then we talked through together how we should map out their final archival vision, which we decided on a podcast recording here at C42 and then a final e-publication. Okay, so the working model I came up with was called a color palette, as like evidenced from like the visuals that I showed you all just now. And this color palette consists of interviews with some of their past members, some script analysis from their past scripts, and as I mentioned, the podcast recording and the final e-publication, which Joe very kindly did and which will be circulated by Center 42. And I felt that these materials were crucial for them because one is that their collective is very much founded on like a spirit of friendship and a spirit of like young energy. So I had to bring back that kind of energy through the interviews. But I also realized the importance of what they wanted to do with like filling the gap in local stories being missing. So that's why I thought the script analysis would provide some balance for that. The podcast recording, we felt that it was crucial for C42 to also come in and talk a bit about like the importance of archiving for Singapore theatre. So that's why Adeline over there behind the camera very kindly contributed some of her perspectives and what C42 has been doing for artists here as a whole. So please find out more from them if you're also interested in building your own archive. Very, very beneficial for them and for the artists as well. And as I mean, for different artists, you will have different modes of your archive coming out. And luckily with them, I mean, color palette was very apt because their name is already We Color People, right? And what Joel told me was that it was derived from this idea of wanting to convey the power of imagination, so to color people's imagination. And then just from that thing, there was also like so many misunderstandings from the name that happened. Like just now, for those who missed the earlier part of the sharing, there was actually some, maybe
We
you can
smiley
explain.
people.
With the colourful people.
We the colorful people, and we colored people. Yeah. A racist company.
Yeah, so they were also like accused of being like racist and all that. So there were all these like misunderstandings that happened. All this also went into their archive lah, like their journey, the downfalls they face. So I think that's important in creating an archive, is that when you speak to the artists, they have to be in a position where they feel vulnerable enough with you also to ensure that all parts of their creation journey is archived, not just the good, but also like the difficult moments and all that. And then there's a part where we talk about what it means to be part of a colorful theatre industry. So that's why we decided this color palette idea would potentially work for them. Yeah. So some of the challenges that I faced as a text creator is hitting a dead end in the archival movement. When you pour through that much material repeatedly, it can be very dry. So you really have to pace yourself well to if you yourself are building an archive for yourself, you do have to try to keep refreshing yourself and making sure that you feel motivated to build your archive. So I guess what helped me stay motivated was going back to the other points of, creating movement and thinking of archiving as a form. And it is very difficult to craft responses to the archive sometimes, because when you are coming in as an outsider, you did not face the same experiences that the artists faced at that moment in time. So I really thank Joe and Lewin for giving me enough trust to kind of bring me into like the situation that was happening at the time, and like just how everything kind of accumulated to what the work was eventually. Yep. Then also for this residency, I had to recognize my parameters as a documenting writer, which is that I am responsible for the text that I produce for them, but they should be responsible for the final conclusion of the archival process that they want. So I think that's crucial when you work as a writer for other artists, is that there always has to be that kind of autonomy given to the artists on what kind of archive, although you can think it up for them, but they also have to be the ones who approve and say, yes, I agree that this type of archive is crucial for how we want to be represented. Yeah, so I think I'm quite glad with how this turned out. I guess they are quite okay also with the outcome of the whole thing. So I'll talk a bit about going forward in other ways I want to continue archiving out of We Color People. So, because right now I'm actually going to be trained for translation in December. So I want to use that translation apprenticeship to think about how do I respond to archiving material in different languages. Because this one, it was easy for me to maybe respond to like scripts or interviews that they gave me, because I am absorbing that directly from a similar language. But if I were to work with a collective that maybe has only made work predominantly in another language, then how do I reconsider that whole archive for them? So maybe if it's like a collective like 9 years that exclusively does Mandarin works, or a company like Theatre Eka Matra that also focuses on a lot of Malay works, then do I kind of say that I'm going to exclude myself as a documenting writer because I'm not familiar with their languages, or do I instead think of how to be immersed with their artistic language in a different way? So that's very interesting, because then the archive can come out in another shape and form. The second thing that I learned from this residency is like I'm responsible for maintaining rapport with the artists. So it's very common for your artists and whoever you're working with, especially in archiving, they may suddenly feel like there's a bit of a standstill and there is a bit of a stagnancy. That's totally common, because again, it can become very dry and very repetitive for them also, to keep like telling you the same thing, that they have been telling you already. So we always have to try to maintain the conversation from like fresh entry points. So I try not to just ask them like, who did you all work with, or like what kind of work did you all do. I also try to ask them things like, how did you all sustain yourself in vulnerable moments, or how do you all envision the type of like name change that you went through. So I think that's quite important if you are thinking of making an archive for other people. And then the last one, I'm trying to think of what other platforms I can contribute to for future archival interest developments out of C42 as well. So we'll see how things go. This was a good stepping stone, because this is my very first ever archiving experience for such a long time. We had 10 months to do this. Yep. Alright, thank you for bearing with my sharing. Eddie will talk a little bit about what they're up to here at Center 42, maybe. Sorry? Oh yeah. Sorry, before we end off, we'll show you the EPUB again, which you can also find on Center 42's website. Which one?
I think it's the
calculator.
Sorry. Yeah,
there's more here. They can.
Oops. Okay.
You want to elaborate on it?
Yeah, so in the EPUB that we created, we put in the script analysis that Eugenia did for us for 3 particular scripts that we wrote, which was Me and the Book of My Future, and Don't Friend You, which was part of the up close and personal performance, and then Awake with Ninik. So you can actually find the full script in there, but disclosure first, Awake with Ninik haven't loaded yet, sorry. Very, very busy, I will load it, okay? But the other 2 scripts are inside. So there's also production photos that you can, let me just go to the end of it. So there's quite a few production photos that we've added in as well, from Rainbow's Ending, Awake with Ninik. This one that you see here was another play that we did, that we produced for the
Montfort Brothers for St. Gabriel. We did a musical for them. I directed this with for their 100-year anniversary. So yeah.
So some publication photos for you to look at. It's quite a number. So our very first sub stage performance. So we got sound some more. So please go have a look when you can, and then you can read the script also.
Yeah, there are also some interviews with them and their past members. So I think with Yazid, Ray and Albert. So all of the interviews come from different approaches to their time at We Colour People.
The dialogues,
Under dialogues, yeah. Right. Yeah. We covered quite a broad range lah. So I'll leave it to you all to pour through this on the website. Yeah.
And We Colour People, we always want it to make accessible, so it's free. So yeah.
Yeah, we can show you.
That's why lah
Never make
never
money.
make money.
That's
Everything free.
Don't become like us. Right, Marvin? Marvin is learning it.
It's a bit wordy though, so take some
Yeah,
time
you gotta
with
take
it.
some time to go through.
Yeah. Yep. This is like roughly how it will look.
Yeah.
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 We will continue to develop the EPUB. But most of the contents are inside already. So we'll try to make it more, fun to read. Also, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not removing anything from it, but more like just giving it more of a design to like even highlighting certain text that we want to focus on.
Yeah. Anyone have any questions
Questions?
for
Any of
Joe,
us?
Lewin, or myself? Yeah. Or if you're too shy, you can ask us after the talk. Yeah. Yeah. But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
with us.